PMI is basically a project management institute based out of Pennsylvania, founded in 1969. So it is a not-for-profit organization, and they are doing a lot. They are doing a lot for the project management for fraternity. So they actually, how this PMI was founded. A lot of projects going on, lot of things going on, and everything that falls within the category of project management of a project. There was no consistent approach to manage those projects. There was no standard approach. So PMI released the first version of PMBOK, that is Project Management Body of Knowledge. So it is basically a collection of the best practices collected from all the professionals across the globe, across the industries. So PMBOK, this entire workshop is based on PMBOK, that is Project Management Body of Knowledge, 5th edition of PMBOK. So PMBOK is it's based on the best practices, as I told you, collected from all the professionals. It is not confined to any particular industry or domain. So as we have two gentlemen, people from IT, from construction, and from the hospital industry, anything and everything that falls within the category of a project, you will have to apply the principles and concepts of project management to manage that. So don't think that this is only for IT, this is only for construction, or this is not for me. No, it is useful for all the industries and all the global, anywhere in the globe. This is the same. This PMI has more than 500,000 member worldwide, and the number is increasing, and there are more than 100,000 PMPs across the globe. They have a lot of other certifications also, like PGMP is there, PFMP is also there, which is the latest one, program management professional, portfolio management professional, CAPM, which is for the freshers, you can say the younger brother of PMP, and then they have some ACP, agile, different approach, and they have risk management, scheduling professional, lot of certification, but PMP is actually the hottest selling certification right now. So PMP sort of authenticates that yes, you have the basic knowledge about the project management. So if you want to become a PMP certified person, then this is the process. So you first need to check whether you have a bachelor's degree or not. If you have a bachelor's degree, then you need to have 4,500 hours of project management experience. So this is your credentials. You need to have 4,500 hours of project management experience in non-overlapping project, acquired in minimum 3 months, 36 months or 3 years time. If you do not have a degree, you are a diploma holder, then you need to have 7,500 hours of project management experience gained or accumulated across minimum 60 months. And you need to have this 35 contact hours certificate. So this training is going to give you the 35 contact hours certificate. Okay. So when I say non-overlapping, 4,500 or 7,500 hours of non-overlapping experience, it means suppose there are 8 hours in a day, and you are a project manager and you are handling 2 projects. So you cannot say that I gained 16 hours of experience today in project management. No. At one point of time, you can work only on one project. So if you say I work for 4 hours on project A, 4 hours on project B, that is fine. But you cannot say out of 8 hours, you spend the 8 hours equally on both the projects. And this should be done in minimum 36 months. You cannot say that in 2 years time only I gained this 4,500 hours. Because on an average, in a year you can get up to 17 or 18 to 1900 hours of project management experience. 18 or 1900 hours of work experience in one calendar year. Considering the standard practices that you work 5 days a week, and you have some holidays, and then you work 8 hours a day. So if you go beyond this, suppose you said that okay, you have 5,000 hours of experience, you did that in 2 hours, 2 years time or 3 years time, then sure shot your application is going to be picked up for audit. So when your application is picked up for audit, then PMI is going to check all the credentials that you have provided. So you need to fill up a form, you need to fill up this application form, and for that form you need to first document your experience. So I'll show you what kind of experience you need to show. So what I'll do is I'll share this file with you. So you will have to have this project title, okay, all the details about the project, and and you will keep on adding the projects here in CTEF column like this. And the most important thing here is you need to provide the contact details of one person. So in case if your application is picked up for audit, so this person will have to vouch and certify that yes, this gentleman who what he or she is saying is true. So it's like a verification. So in case if your application is picked up for audit, so PMI is going to inform you and notify you, and then you need to contact this person, and this person will have to take a printout of a form which PMI will provide you, or you can download it from the website also. He will have to fill that up, seal it, send it to you, and you need to forward it as it is to PMI, or he can send it directly to PMI as well. And how you need to capture your experiences for each process groups, because the project is divided into 5 process groups, that is initiating, planning, execution, and monitor control and closing process. So there are certain activities given there, and you need to document that how many hours you will spend in each of this activity for that particular project. And you need to get a total of 4,500 hours here. So this, as you keep on adding the projects and you keep on adding the experience, the number will keep on increasing, and you cannot submit more than 4,500 hours on PMI website. Suppose you have documented some 8,000, 9,000 hours, you want to upload everything? No. The application is such that after you have completed 4,500 hours, you will not be able to add more. So what the important thing that you need to consider here is, before you fill up this form, before you submit it on PMI website, please talk to these people whose reference you are going to provide there. And that person should be available. It should not happen that you have given someone's name and now you are not able to reach that person. In that case, your application will be rejected, or your certification will not be verified, and that means a straight hit of $100, $100. Because you need to pay the fee at the time of submitting your application, and the fee is $555 for non-members, and if you take the membership, it is actually $405, and membership fee has increased now. It is no more $129, it is $139. So $139 is a PMI membership fee. If you take this PMI membership fee by $139, you will have to pay $405 as a examination fee. So the difference is hardly of $11. But when you take the membership, you get access to some free resources on PMI website. You get a free PM journal for 1 year. This membership is valid for 1 year. And along with that, if you want, you can take the membership with the local chapter as well. Okay. And there are only 3 attempts allowed in 1 year in case you have blocked the examination. So the day you submitted your application, PMI will take 5 business time, maximum 5 business days time to verify and validate that application, and then you are going to get a notification from that your credentials have been accepted. And PMI picks up 20% of all the applications for the random audit. These applications will be selected randomly. In case if your application is picked up for audit, then it will take around 20 to 25 business days to get it clear. Once you clear that, once it is clear, the audit is clear, the credentials are verified, then you will receive the mail from PMI that now you can go and block the examination. The day you receive that application, this mail from PMI, you will have 1 year's time to clear the PMP examination. Okay. From that date, you will receive the email. So you go ahead and block the date. Suppose you blocked it for after 2 months, and you go for the examination. Unfortunately, you are not able to clear that in first attempt. Then you need to pay a re-examination fee of $275, and you can reschedule the examination after 30 days. Suppose you applied for, you received the email from PMI on 1st of April 2014. So you block the examination date for 1st of May 2014. Okay. So from 1st April, you have time till 31st March 2015 to clear the PMP exam. You scheduled it for 1st May 2014, and unfortunately you failed to clear it. So you can reschedule the examination after 30 days. So the earliest date that you can block is 1st June for the examination. You go for the examination, suppose you are very unfortunate one and you fail to clear it in second attempt also. You will get a third chance as well by paying $275. If you fail to clear it in third attempt also, then you will have to go for the you will have to start the entire process from scratch. You will have to fill up the examination form, you will have to fill up all the processing, you have to pay the entire fee, and you will have to start from scratch. But don't worry, that situation will not come. That is a worst case scenario. I have seen only with one person actually so far in past 10 years that who could not clear it in 3 attempts also. I have not seen anyone who failed to clear it in 3 attempts other than that gentleman. Because this examination is tough, no doubt it is tough. But if you feel that okay, you will just mug up the entire framework and you will go for it, you will not be able to clear that. Understanding the concepts is more important than memorizing it. There is something called as PMIism. So we are going to talk a lot about this PMIism. So PMIism, knowing about PMIism is very, very important and crucial to clear the examination. So we were talking about the process that we have. So once you have, when you are eligible, then you need to go to you need to first take the PMI membership and then attend the PMP exam preparation workshop. But we can swap this. So after this, you take the PMI membership first. That is, I strongly suggest. And then you complete and submit the application to PMI. I am going to share that Excel sheet with all of you, and you can start documenting your experience, because that also will take time. You may have to go back, some 5-6 years back also and find out all the projects that you handle, and you need to document hours for each and every activity that is listed there. And then when you go to PMI website, you can just transfer this information to their online form as it is. So once you receive the notification, then you will receive after some time you will receive the email, and then you need to start preparing for the examination. You take the examination, and if you clear that, you are going to get this PMP certification, and that certificate will be valid for 3 years. And in those 3 years time, you will have to gain or accumulate 60 PDUs, professional development units. So I will tell you that how you can gain those PDUs, 60 PDUs. There are different ways. Being a professional, you are eligible for some 5 or 6 PDUs a year. Then you can take up certain training, some e-learning courses, online courses. You can also participate in the conferences and events organized by PMI. Each PMI event will give you certain PDUs. So 1 hour spent on any authorized or recognized PMI activity, PMP activity, will give you 1 PDU. Okay. Then you need to gain 60 PDUs over a 3 years time, and you need to pay a renewal fee of $150 if you are not a member. If you are a member, PMI member at that time, then you need to pay $120 as a renewal fee. And in case if you fail to gain those 60 PDUs, your PMP certification will be suspended for 1 year. If you fail to renew that in that 1 year's time also, then it will be cancelled. And if you want to do the certification, you will have to start from the scratch again. So make sure that you gain and accumulate 60 PDUs in 3 years time. Clear? Any questions? Fine?
Every 3 years we have to do this.
Yes, every 3 years you have to do that. Okay. So PMI is a not-for-profit organization, but the kind of profits they make. About your PMP examination. This is about your PMP examination process and the formality. Now talking about the PMP examination. So this examination is a 4-hour long examination, and you will have 200 multiple choice questions here. Out of the 200 questions, 25 questions are the pre-test questions, and 175 questions are for the final marking. So pre-test questions is PMI will keep on changing the versions of the examination. No one outside that circle has any idea how many papers they have, how many versions of the question paper they have. They keep on changing them, they keep on adding the questions. These questions are developed by the professionals and the volunteers across the globe from the different industry. So what PMI does is, before adding those questions for the final marking, they put them under this pre-test category. And they will do it's a kind of survey. So suppose they have given it to 200 people or 300 people, and out of the 300 people, no one is able to answer that question. So they will assume that okay, it is too difficult, it is too tough, we can't handle it. I mean, people are not able to handle it. So they will probably remove that question from the test. Suppose out of 300, almost everyone answered correctly for that. Then they'll assume that okay, it is too easy. So they'll remove that as well. So pre-test question is just to check whether the question is good enough to be given or to be added to the final marking questions or not. Okay. But you will have no idea that which of the question is a pre-test question and which one is a final marking question. You will have to take all these 200 questions with the same level of seriousness, and you will have to pay the same level of attention to everyone. And the passing score to clear the examination is 61%. You need to score minimum 61%. You need to get 106 questions right out of 175 questions, because 25 are pre-test questions, and for that the answers are not considered. I mean, the score is not calculated. Clear? 4 hours. Once it started, the clock will continue to tick, and in 4 hours time, so practically, like, you get 1 minute and few seconds or 5 or 6 seconds for each question, because you need to take 200 questions in 240 minutes. Clear? So as I told you, PMBOK, the project management body of knowledge, is divided into 5 process groups, and initiation will have 30% of the share from all those 200 questions. Planning will have 24% shares, 20%, monitor and control 25%, and closing 8%. So only 8% question will be coming from closing area. Okay. So these questions they will not come in a proper sequence or any order. They will be the random questions. So the first question may be from the closing, second question may be from the execution, like this. There is no order defined for it. And that is all about your basics of PMI and PMP examination, and we will keep talking about it as we move ahead and as we make progress. Okay? And this information that I have shared with you, it can change from time to time. So the best option is you go to PMI website and download PMP handbook. So PMP handbook is a PDF which is available on PMI website. It will always have the latest and the most updated information. Okay? I can share the link with you if you want, and you can go ahead and download that and go through it. It will give you details about each and everything that you need to know about the PMP examination. Okay? So that's about the first chapter of the introduction to PMI and PMP. And now before we move ahead, next topic is project life cycle and organization. So these are the topics before this module starts. These are topics that we need to understand. There may or may not be a direct questions from this area, but for you it is very important to understand that the project that we are talking about is a subset of which larger picture. So we will understand the entire project organization, and we will also talk about the project life cycle. So the key learning objective of this is to understand the project life cycle and its characteristics, project phases and its characteristics, project stakeholder, project life cycle versus product life cycle, and organization influences, so system, culture and style, and also the structure, and then project management system. So so let me give you an example, a good example. Suppose you work in an automobile company, and the company says, and you are head of R&D. Company says that we need to launch a new vehicle, a new type of car, somewhere in 2017. And they ask you to work on a prototype of a car. Okay. New model, new variant. So you start working on it on 2014, and you work on prototype till 2016. So when I say prototype, what do we do in prototype? Whether it is feasible to make this car or not, isn't it? So after your prototype is complete, it will go through all the testing cycle and all the rigorous testing and various approval, and then after it crosses all the hurdle, then it will go for mass production. Okay. Then the company starts manufacturing it, and they continue to manufacture it for, let's say, next 8 years till 2024. 2024, they say that okay, we are going to stop manufacturing this car. But the people who have purchased this car already, they will continue to provide support for to those people till, let's say, 2028. They will continue to manufacture some spare parts, isn't it? At end of 2028, and they will say this is end of life. End of life means no more production of the car or no more production of the spare parts also. Okay. So from this point to this point, all the activities, all the effort, all the work were concentrated towards one product, which is car, that particular variant of the car. So this is called as our product life cycle. Product life cycle can be made up of multiple project life cycles and operation life cycle also. How come? So you started working on the prototype of this car in 2014 and you worked in 2016, and then project got over. Project got over and it had an output. Output was what? Car. And once it was over and successfully over, then it went into mass production.
Yes.
Shop floor, manufacturing line. So suppose 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 18, 19, 21, 20, 21, 22, 23 and 24. First year, company made only 3,000 cars. Because they wanted to check how the market receives those cars. What is the response? Response was good. Second year, they decided to manufacture 5,000 cars. Again, second year also it was selling like hotcake. Third year, they decided to increase the capacity to 15,000. And then they maintained this 15,000 for several years. And somewhere here they started sunsetting the project and then they stopped it. First year, when they started to manufacture this, they of course needed some infrastructure. So while you were doing this prototyping, there was some other project also going on in parallel to create this manufacturing facility, isn't it?
Yes.
That was also a project, isn't it? Output of this project went into operations, and first year capacity was 3,000, next year capacity was increased to 10,000. So you must have done, or the company must have done some project to enhance the manufacturing capacity. That was also a project. In between, along with the operations, so this is basically an operation, along with the operations, you must have done something, or the company must have taken some steps to do some automation, to increase the efficiency, cost optimization. So along with the operations, there were multiple projects running from time to time. So product life cycle can consist of one or more than one projects or operations life cycle. Or in a way you can say project life cycle is a subset of product life cycle. Okay. So this prototype, this we can divide this project into multiple steps or phases. So first phase was, let's say, feasibility analysis. What was the feasibility analysis? Your team did this analysis whether it is feasible to manufacture this car or not, whether it is feasible to have those features and all the specifications that the company has mentioned in one car or not.
Market demand also check.
Sorry?
Market demand.
Market demand, absolutely. Even if the company can make that, whether there will be some market for that or not. So in the prototyping, the company might invest 100 to 200 crore rupees, isn't it? In setting up this plant, the company can spend 1,000 crore rupees. How are you going to recover this cost? By selling the car. And if the car is not sellable, your investment is dead. So all this will be done as a part of your feasibility analysis. Once the feasibility analysis is done and the report is positive, then the next phase will start, that is your design. There would be another team which will start working on the design of the prototype. Once the designing is done, it may go for build, where you do the manufacturing or you'll manufacture that one single prototype of that. Once it is built, then you'll go through the various stages of testing, rigorous testing, isn't it? Once it is tested, then you may go for the various approval cycles. You may submit this papers and the relevant document and the prototype to government to get the clearance certificate, whether it is that Bharat stage 4 or stage 5 compliance or not, and all other security and safety guidelines. Once it passes through all the hurdles, then it will be passed and okay and approved, and the project will be, the prototyping will be completed and it will go for mass production. So this prototype, creating the prototype was a project, and that project was divided into multiple phases.
Yeah.
Of course it will be divided.
Yeah, whole
Yes, it will be divided because see, the way we define the criteria or we do the financial planning for operations is completely different than the way we do it for the projects. Okay, so what the point that we are trying to understand here is that we have this product life cycle as a larger picture. A small subset of that product life cycle is our project life cycle, and the project life cycle is divided into multiple phases. What were the phases here? Design, feasibility analysis, design, build, testing, and approval. And each phases were, what were those phases? You were doing certain activities, you were following some processes, isn't it? So that the objective for which you have undertaken that particular piece of work can be achieved. So what was the objective here? To do a feasibility analysis. And feasibility analysis, for that you had to take some steps, isn't it? First of all, this team who worked on the feasibility, they identified, okay, why we are doing this? What is the objective? Then this team must have decided, okay, who are the key people? Who are the key people involved into this? Isn't it? And after that, planning that how the entire feasibility analysis will be done. You will plan it out also. Plan it out means, okay, the team of 2 people or 3 people, one team will do the market analysis, second will do the R&D on technical side, technical aspect, whether the technology is available or not. If yes, fine. If no, can we create or invent the technology in-house in our premises within our manufacturing capacity? And all these things you do, how the supply chain will be handled, how the logistics will be handled. Because when you do the feasibility analysis, the car is not the only thing. Where your manufacturing is going to be, how you are going to deliver the vehicles from that manufacturing facility to the different market, isn't it? How the raw material will be supplied to you, all you will be doing during your feasibility analysis. So that also will become a big project by its own, isn't it? So you need to plan for it, and plan means you will identify the amount of work and the piece of work needed to be done. Once you have planned it, then you are going to execute it. So whatever is planned, you will start doing that work, and when you are doing that work, you will also keep on checking it, monitor and control whether it is as per plan or not.
PDCA.
PDCA, absolutely correct. We will have this P, D, C, act, and as a result of act, we can either have change or close. If it is change, we may have to update our plan and it will go for rework. Okay. So this cycle, PDCA cycle, will be applicable for all the phases. So these are called as the process groups. For each phase, we need to carry out certain processes. What are the processes? Process is a collection of activities, collection of steps which you need to do to obtain or fulfill some objectives, specified objectives. Okay. So talking about the process. So process is like this. So each process will receive some inputs. Inputs means it will receive some information, it will analyze that information, and then it will give you some output. Yes or no?
Yes.
So PMBOK is structured based on these processes. So PMBOK has 47 processes which caters to all the aspects of the project management. 47 processes map to 5 process groups and 10 distinctive knowledge areas. 5 process groups are your initiate, plan, execute, monitor, control and close. And 10 distinctive knowledge areas are your integration, scope, time, cost, quality, HR, communication, risk and stakeholder. So we are going to talk about all these 47 processes with respect to the knowledge areas, and then we are going to close the project. And we will also talk about this process groups. So the point that we wanted to understand, or the key objective of explaining this is, what is the superset? Superset is what? Product life cycle. What is the subset? Project and operational life cycle. So we are not going to talk about the operational life cycle, but we are going to learn about the project life cycle. Project life cycle is made up of different phases, and in each phase we can have this initiate, plan, execute,
execution,
monitor and control and close. So this is called as IPEC. Initiate, plan, execute, monitor and control and close. And for each process group we have to carry out certain processes. Okay, so a smaller subset of this is a process, and process is a collection of or the predefined steps to achieve certain specific output. So process is made up of inputs, tools and techniques and output, that is called as ITTOs. So there are 5 process groups, there are 47 processes, and there are more than 520 ITTOs. Input, tools and techniques and outputs. For the examination, you need to have this information on your fingertips. But memorizing is not the key. If you try to memorize this, you may or you may not succeed in memorizing. Even if you are able to memorize that, it will not help you in the PMP examination. Understanding the concept is most important to clear the PMP examination. Why? Because if this is the wider body of knowledge, project management body of knowledge, PMBOK guide that we have covers only this much of area. PMBOK guide 5th edition. And then you have your general project management skills, project management common sense, interpersonal skills and all other information. So only 65 to 70% questions will be from the PMBOK guide, rest 30 to 35% will be from the outside. And you have absolutely no option to say that okay, this is outside the course, I cannot take the exam. No. To be able to answer that, you must understand the concept, and you will have to use your experience and project management general knowledge and project management common sense. That is called as your PMI. Clear? So I am going to give you the tips and tricks that how you should prepare, how you should study, and then you will be able to clear that in one go. So project life cycle, we have already covered the project life cycle. What is life cycle made up of? It is made up of different phases, and during all these phases, what we need to do, what we are supposed to do, we are supposed to manage the stakeholders. Managing the stakeholder is what? Ensuring or understanding each of the person who is involved in the project, who can get impacted or who can impact the project, understanding and noting down their expectations and managing or fulfilling their expectations. So project stakeholders, these are the list of key stakeholders, these are the people, but again this list is not limited to these people only. Anyone who is involved directly or indirectly is a stakeholder. Important is to understand who these people are, what influence they have on the project, how they can impact the project, are they supporting you or are they against you? They are supporter or resistor, and based on that we are going to make our strategy. So this topic we are going to cover in detail when we come to the project stakeholder management area. PMI has put a lot of emphasis in managing the stakeholders, and that is why in the 5th edition they have added a new knowledge area. Okay, until 4th edition there were only 9 knowledge areas, but then they split this communication into 2 and one knowledge area was added called as stakeholder management. Okay. How to manage the stakeholders, we are going to cover that. Product versus project life cycle, we already covered that. Organization influence. So organization influence, it is very important to understand the organization influence, but I think it's 11:20. So what we'll do is we'll take a break and we'll resume in some time at 11:35. So let's hope that they arrange the tea or coffee. Okay, great. So we were talking about the organizational influences. So point is, why we need to know this? Because these are the factors which are going to affect your authorities and power in the capacity of a project manager. So we have different type of organization structure, and these structures are important to understand from the examination point of view. And each of the structure define that how much authority you as a project manager will have. So we have total 6 type of organizations. We have projectized organization, and you can see the authority of the project manager and authority of the functional manager. So this is in the ascending mode and this is in the descending mode. Projectized is a type of structure where the project manager will have the highest power and authority. Then we have the matrix, and matrix is divided into 3 categories: strong matrix, balanced matrix and weak matrix. And then we have the functional. There is one more type which is called as composite structure, which we are going to see in later slides. So how these organizations are structured? So this is your functional organization. So functional organization, the key power remains with the functional managers. You must have heard of these companies where you have verticals and then you have horizontals. So these towers, each of the function is actually a vertical. For example, when you go to your hospital, you will have one quality department, you will have one supply chain or procurement department, you will have one operations department or installation department, and then you will have some people who will work on the enhancing the capacity. Suppose right now it is a 50-bed hospital and they have to take it to make it 75-bed hospital. So it is a project. So there would be a project manager who will work with all these functions to ensure that they extend the capacity. Now the type of organization you work into will define how much authority do you have. The example I can give you is, suppose you are the manager, you are the project manager, and you work in a functional organization. Okay? And you, in a functional organization, the project management is done at this level, the functional heads. So as a project manager, you actually will have no authority or no power. In fact, your designation will also be a mere coordinator. All you will do is, you will just work with the different resources from each of the vertical which are assigned to you, and you do the coordination work. Then we move to the next, that is your projectized. So the projectized is just opposite of it. And if you work in a projectized organization and you are the project manager, then you are the god for that project. Your decision will be the final decision. All the resources are reporting to you. All the resources are responsible and accountable, responsible for the work, project work, and you will be managing all the resources. You will have full authority on the resources. Then we have the matrix. So matrix is a mix of your functional and projectized operation. And we have 3 types of matrix organization: weak matrix, balanced matrix and strong matrix. So weak matrix. in weak matrix, what will happen is each of the function will devote or let me give you an example. Suppose you work in an industry, in a factory, and you have a huge plant, a factory facility outside Ahmedabad. From the main entrance to that plant to the main administrative building, there is a road of 1.5 kilometers. One day your CEO comes and he sees that road is in a pathetic state. The road which connects the main entrance to the administrative building is full of potholes. He is irritated. He immediately calls up the head of admin there. And he says, I want you to construct this road in next 15 days time or next 30 days time. Okay. And you work in a functional organization. Because it is a factory we are talking about, so we are assuming that it is a functional organization. What this admin head does is, he immediately calls up the finance head and also the procurement or the purchase head. And he says that we have to construct this road in 30 days time. So, I am assigning one person for my team, finance person says I am giving 2 people for my team, purchase manager says I am giving 1 person for my team. They will do some homework, they will give us the data, and we are going to meet on a alternative day basis to discuss what is to be done and how it is to be done. So the project coordination is being done at this level. There is no role of project manager in functional organization here. Okay. In a weak matrix, what this function manager says that okay, since we have some other important things to do, what we'll do is we will identify one of the person here and he will do the coordination. So from that team that they identify who will be working on this project in constructing the road, they gave this authority to one person who will be now called as project coordinator. Okay, and he will have no decision making authority. His role is just to collect and collect the information from these different resources from that horizontal, and decision making will be done by functional managers. Okay. Balance matrix, this person, so the same example, same team, what this admin manager says, admin head says that okay, I am assigning this work to a person called Nishant Shukla. Nishant Shukla will now become the project manager. So he will find out how these people should be working, what is the work to be done, and they all will start reporting to Nishant Shukla. They will have a dotted line reporting to Nishant for the project related work. But they will have the dual reporting. They are reporting to their function manager, respective function manager, and they have a dotted line reporting to project manager or Nishant as well. Okay. Suppose Nishant is working and Nishant requires a report from the purchase department. Nishant goes and asks, can you give me this report by tomorrow afternoon? And he responds back that no, I cannot because I have some major delivery going on. And that is my top priority, I cannot work on your project. Do I have an authority to go and say that you forget your work and you do my work? No, I don't have that. Because the resources are not under my direct command. They have dual reporting. They are reporting to me for this project, and for their daily operational work, functional work, they are reporting to their respective function manager. Then we go to the strong matrix. In strong matrix, what happens is we have a dedicated team who is working on the projects. I think in your case, or in your case also, not in your case, I think the strong matrix is a structure that probably will be following. You will have one team which is made up of the project managers, and different people will be working with all the functional team to manage that project. In this kind of structure, project manager has higher authority than the functional manager. Okay, but again it is mixed. For certain things you may have to depend on functional manager, but let's say 80 to 90% authority on the power will be project manager. Resources will still have the dual reporting. So what is the objective of understanding this organizational structure? That as a project manager, how much authority and how much power you will have depending on the type of the organization. You as a project manager do not have the capacity to change this organization structure. And there is nothing right or there is nothing wrong in this. Suppose you work in a product organization like your company. Your company, I am sure, must be pure projectized organization. Isn't it? You have different projects, and for each project you will have the SMEs. You will have people coming from quality, you will have people coming from electrical, you will have coming from plumbing, and they all will be reporting to the site manager for that particular project. In your case, in your type of industry, it will be a strong matrix. Okay? Coming from IT, depending if you are in IT development or IT consulting. If you are in consulting, then you may have the weak matrix or balanced matrix. If you are in a product organization, pure product, then you will have a projectized organization. And this structure, it is important for you to identify what kind of structure you work in. And that will help you estimate a better plan and estimate your work. Because then you will know that, okay, whether this resource will be available to me for full time or not. For example, you have an activity, and that activity is so you made your plan, and that activity is of 8 hours. And that activity is to be done by, let's say, the quality team, a resource from the quality team, and you work in a weak matrix organization. So you as a project manager, you go and check with the function manager, quality head, that can you give me this resource for 8 hours? He will say no. He has some other work to be done. So all he can give you is 2 hours every day. So the activity, the task which had a duration of 1 day earlier because of 8 hours of work, now this duration will become 4 days. Isn't it? One person working for 8 hours full 8 hours in a day will finish a project in a day's time. But if he or she is working for 2 hours, it will take 4 days to get over this job. So this is a factor you will have to consider while making the plan, while estimating your duration and creating your schedule. Is that clear? Any questions? You will have minimum 1 question coming from this area in PMP exam. Yes, sir. It is important to understand that what kind of structure you work in, and that will help you plan in a better way and more accurate way. And you can go to this slide. This will tell you what is the title and the authority of a project manager in different type of organization structure.
One more question. This
Yeah.
organization structures, does it depend on the companies, like bigger companies
Yes.
having a certain structure, middle sizes having like
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Like if you go to HP, and HP has multiple entities. HP has a product department. So product is completely projectized organization. If you go to services, it is pure functional organization or weak matrix organization. So one company also.
Consultancy and implementation is going on for the project, that is always weak matrix.
That is always weak matrix.
Because
Yes.
they are working on multiple projects at the same
Absolutely.
time, so they are reporting to different managers.
Correct.
And that-
For each other project, they are reporting
Yeah.
to different managers. So that is a weak matrix.
And what are the advantages of these different matrices? I mean, strong, weak, and which is more
Appropriate.
No, there is nothing right or wrong in this. This is depending on the nature of the work that your company is involved in.
Resource availability.
No, not in the resource availability, but nature of the work or the way the organization is
Suppose
structured.
I have one web page designer,
Okay.
and he is working under different provides services for different projects. Then
So if you have one web page designer and he is working for different projects, and you are the project manager,
and I am one of the project managers.
you are one of the project managers. So it means that he is working in, you're working probably in the matrix organization, either weak or balanced. So it depends on how much power and authority do you have. So do you have to take permission from their manager each and every time you use them?
No, we share, means discuss with other project.
What is the strength of your organization?
10 people,
Total 10.
total 10.
Okay, then actually like, in this small organization it becomes very difficult to define what structure you follow. Very difficult to define that. Normally
Basically, it depends on the project. It varies project to project. If you work in, as per my working methodology and example, if we have any project that IT project that requires to be built, let's say it's an ERP, which needs to be built for almost, that is a project of 10,000 hours that we have estimated, and the estimate is for 20 people for 2.5 years, then that is a completely projectized matrix, because one person is handling the project and 20 people are reporting to him. But if I have, let's say, ERP built and I have to implement somewhere, then the duration of project is almost 6 months, and I have with, let's say, for manufacturing I have different set of
Yes.
functional
you have
consultants.
supply chain, you have production line, you have finished
Yeah,
goods,
fin-
inventory and all this function.
Account receivable, payable. So I have different various modules where I have different expertise available, and I have to utilize them accordingly, because those expertise needs to be utilized for different customers.
But again, we are talking about the ERP implementation. ERP implementation, even though there are people coming with a different background and different expertise, but for the deployment at a particular customer site, they all report to one project manager.
Yeah, that is true. That is
Yeah.
true. But then let's say what we have. I work in a company where we implement AX. That's one Microsoft ERP. For that we have that kind of tendency. If I have a huge project which is going on, my 4 consultants are at client place, but I have a other project for which 2 of them are required, because they have visited in past for
Correct,
that
correct.
particular customer.
Yeah.
So for that thing, that particular
But
area
the
becomes
question
my
is,
balance
okay,
matrix.
no,
Because
that is wrong.
that
But
person-
tell me, who decides that whether those 2 people should go to some other customer or not? Who decides?
That is something we decide mutually.
You decide, but as a project manager, you decide as a project manager, or you decide as a function manager.
I decide as a project manager.
Then it is a projectized organization. It can be a strong matrix or it can be a projectized.
Strong, but as per that, because the person who needs to go there and he needs to go to other place, that person reports to 2 people. He is going to report to me also, and he is going to report to the other person also.
Okay,
And
he is going
sometimes,
to report to his functional manager as well.
Exactly.
Okay, suppose that resource is working on the supply chain.
yeah,
He is going to report to supply chain head and he is going to report to you.
yes.
Now tell me, if that resource has to go to some other client side, whom he is going to consult and whose decision will be the final one that this person need to go to that customer?
That is mine.
Then it is either a strong matrix organization. Yeah, it cannot be a projectized, it is a strong matrix organization.
Yeah.
Because you as a project manager has higher authority. You have a dotted, that person has a dotted line reporting to his functional manager as well.
manager.
But you are the decision maker for that.
Yeah.
So it is a strong matrix organization.
Because sometimes what happens, let's say recently what happened,
Hmm.
the person was there and I insisted that you will have to go to the other customer place on Saturday. So the other manager, functional manager insisted that no, his presence is required for this period of time here only. But then I insisted that no, he'll have to go there. So we had a heated argument, and finally we come to conclusion that half time he'll be there and half time he'll be going there.
Correct.
So,
But these
So
type
that
of
kind of things
organizations,
happen.
like in our experience,
Yeah.
like in my experience, mostly small companies which are there or small projects, they are projectized. But
Yeah.
when you move to the bigger and huge project, it's more of a functional
Hmm.
responsibility.
Correct. Absolutely
And
correct.
when these type of disputes happen, we have to approach the top level.
Yes.
Because say once there's a dispute between
Yes,
functional and
yes.
project manager,
Yeah.
they have to approach the top level for resolving this.
But Cisco, I worked in HP, I worked in Cisco. Cisco is a product organization, pure product organization. And the structure we have there is a strong matrix. Project manager will always have the upper hand. And in some entities, so within Cisco there are multiple entities. And within multiple entities, they have the projectized structure also. Some organization, let's say the engineering organization, they are purely projectized organizations. You know, the project manager has a supreme authority, is a supreme power. All the people are reporting to project manager only. And project manager reporting to program manager reporting to director.
But in Ahmedabad, many small companies have shared resources.
Fine, so that is fine. Shared resources means your
web
matrix.
designer, QA team,
Yeah.
all are.
But I
So, okay,
to
so
your
the point
authority-
to understand here is why we need to know which kind of structure we work in. Because that will define how much power you have, how much authority and control you have over your resources. And where you are going to use this information? In planning and estimating the efforts. Okay, estimating the efforts is the key area which will get influenced or impacted by the organization structure. So is it clear to everyone?
Yes.
See,
One question
Yeah.
like this. If it's a projectized structure, then the project manager has to have expertise in everything, right? And if it's not a projectized structure, then you have the functional manager who are experts in their respective fields. So the
Yes.
expertise coming into the project is much more in a functional setup than in a project.
absolutely, and that is why when we go to the services organization, there we normally have a weak matrix because the function becomes very important. You know, the expertise and SMEs becomes very important. Okay, so see, this information you will have to read, you will have to study, you will have to read PMBOK. Have you checked PMBOK earlier? Have you seen the PMBOK?
Yes.
Do you have soft copy?
Yes.
Hard copy?
Hard copy.
I don't have hard copy. I have soft copy, but
Okay.
not PMBOK 5. I have 4. I guess.
Don't refer to that.
Okay.
Just discard any of the previous edition.
Then order.
Yeah. So what happens is when you take the PMI membership, you get a free copy of PMBOK. So you can use that. And it cannot be distributed further. It is unethical. You cannot forward it. You cannot redistribute it. It is not allowed also. And one of the things that PMI insists on is following the code of conduct.
What about Rita? Is it good?
Rita Mukherjee is considered to be one of the best book, but it is very expensive also. Some 4,800, 900, something for one copy. Roughly around 5,000 per copy. But that is considered to be the best book. I will tell you, I'm going to tell you the entire strategy, how we should plan and prepare for the examination. Okay? So read this section carefully in your PMBOK, and last one is a composite structure. So the composite structure is no matter what type of structure you have, but for let's say a specific project, which are called as war room sessions. So suppose you have some firefighting. Let's say you're working in a hospital project, okay? And all of a sudden you come to know that government has changed its governing policies, some compliance or regulatory related information, and your hospital is going to be inaugurated and launched in a month's time. So for you it becomes very important that in 1 month's time you actually fulfill those revised compliance guidelines. So what you'll do is you will go to your quality head, you will go to your supply chain head, you will go to your purchase head, and you will tell them that I want your resources, I want to borrow your resources for next 1 week time or 10 days time or 15 days time. During that 15 days time, they will have no work coming from you or from that function. They will be entirely reporting to me. Normally we use this for the firefighting kind of work. Okay, so the project manager becomes a whole sole authority for that 15 days or 20 days time. Even if it is a weak matrix structure or strong matrix structure or a projectized structure or a functional structure, project manager will have all power and authority. So this is also called as an ad hoc structure. Clear? And then we have the project management system in place, and the project management system is managed by whom? PMO. Absolutely correct. Okay. So project management system is a tool, set of tools, technologies, methodologies, resources and procedures to manage a project. For example, your MS project is a project management tool, EPM, Microsoft, project and portfolio management tool from HP, which is also called as Mercury. Have you heard of Mercury? Have you worked on that?
I have tried, but I am comfortable with MS Project.
Okay, great. So project and portfolio is an online based tracking tool which is not very useful because it doesn't do any kind of automation. But project management system, like your information distribution system, we are going to talk about this in detail when we come to the appropriate topic. Okay. So that is about your project management life cycle and structure. So two things that we learned in this is, first is what is a product life cycle, project life cycle. Project life cycle is divided into phases. Phases are made up of what?
Processes.
Process groups, interaction of the process groups, and the process group is a collection of processes, and process is made up of input, tools and techniques and outputs. Do you understand the logical flow and logical connection now? What is a superset? What is a subset? What is a sub-subset? What is a sub-sub-subset? Okay. So in next 4 days time, I mean today and tomorrow and the remaining weekends, we are going to stay focused on these processes. We are going to check and review each and every process, but again we will not be able to talk about each and every IDTO because you will realize in some time that 4 days is a very little time. And no company or no workshop in this world can cover that. If we have to cover each and everything in detail, we require a dedicated 3 weeks workshop, 21 days of workshop. Okay, so that is why my focus is going to be on the logical flow and understanding and the concepts, and based on that you have to read. So if PMP examination is a project for you, as a trainer, as a guide, my contribution is not more than 5 to 10%. I am going to give you the direction, but you will have to walk on that direction. Clear? So this is about your project life cycle and structure. And now we are going to start with our project management framework. So what we are going to learn here is what is a project and the key characteristics of a project versus operation, project management, and also we will talk about, very quickly we will talk about the framework guide and the project, program and portfolio management. So after you understand the structure, now we will focus on the project. So what do you understand from this cartoon? What it is trying to depict? What is here?
He's got the product at the wrong time.
He's got the
Product at the wrong time.
okay. Okay, just understand what that cartoon is about. What does it depicts? So we can see he's a prisoner and he's running, he's escaping from a jail, isn't it? So let's assume that he was in his cell and he got a thought that maybe I should go out in this free world, and through the legitimate ways it probably would have taken years and years for him to come out. So he made a vision, and the vision was that I need to go out in the free world. To realize his vision, he set up a goal, and the goal was to go out of prison. Vision was to go out and live in the free world. To realize his vision, he set up this goal that I have to escape from this prison. To achieve his goal, he set up a project, and the project was to dig a tunnel underground which will take him out to the free world. He planned for it, he executed that, he is out of it, and within few seconds he will be not only free from the prison but free from all the worries. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So what went wrong? Time. Okay. What do you think went wrong?
He has not planned properly.
Planning we can say, but then he didn't have the current
Execution.
Execution. Okay.
data information was not complete.
What is it?
Prediction and
He did not have
Which
team.
one?
prediction. No.
Prediction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Team. He does not have team.
Output is wrong.
So what it says, when you don't know where you are going, any road will get you there.
Wrong map.
Wrong?
Map.
Wrong map?
Yeah.
Okay. This line states that when you don't know where you are going, It means his goal was not clear.
Yes, just his goal.
His goal was very subjective. He set a goal that I have to get out of this prison. But his goal, he did not quantify his goal. So the first thing is, when you start your project, you must set a very clearly measurable goal. Now, can we call this project a success or a failure?
Both.
It's both, because we don't know. How we define and decide whether the project is a success or failure? If the outcome of the project helps you achieve your goals and objective, the project is a success. And in this one, his objective is achieved or not?
Achieved, his freedom is there, but then he doesn't.
No. His
Finally,
his vision was to go out and live in the free world, not in the dry in the free world. And he's going to die now. So the first thing is, you must set a goal, and the goal must be very clearly measurable goal. Okay? It should not be a subjective goal. Okay? And once you set up a goal, and then you have a project. So what is a project? So the project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service or result. This is a definition of project coming from Pimbock Guide 5th edition. And the characteristics here is, first is temporary endeavor. Temporary means it has to start one day and it has to end one day. It cannot be ongoing activity. If it is an ongoing activity, it will become what?
Endless project.
Operations.
Not endless, but it will become
Operations.
operations. Okay? And the unique output. The output of the project has to be unique in some way or other from any of the previously done project. Okay? And progressive elaboration. So progressive elaboration is a very important characteristic. So as you move ahead in the project, you will see that you are getting more clarity towards the scope, towards the deliverable, and you see the money that you spend, the cost and the resource and the staffing is also increasing in the same proportion. For example, if you decide to construct a house somewhere, a villa, a beautiful villa somewhere on the outskirts of Ahmedabad. So you had been living with this dream for past many years. The day comes when you have sufficient money to do that. Okay? Till that time you are just thinking of one thing, I want my own villa. The day you go and make the purchase, you buy a plot, you will have some clarity, okay, I want to have a villa in a 3000 square feet plot. Once you have purchased a plot, then you go to architect, and architect, you tell him that, okay, I want to construct my villa, and then he asks you, okay, tell me how many bedrooms you want. You get more clarity on the scope that, okay, I want a 3 BHK villa, I want a duplex, I want a small lawn, and I want a small swimming pool on the backside. Isn't it? He says, okay, fine. He will start planning and creating the layout and the blueprint as per that requirement. Then you move ahead and he says, okay, now is the time to engage with the contractor. Contractor comes and he asks, okay, fine, you want to construct this room, and now we have the size also, so what type of construction you want? Do you want to put the granite? Do you want to put the cement? Or do you want to put some red stone or something like that? So as you are moving ahead, you are getting to know about the finer details of the project. We talked about what is a project. So tell me, what is not a project?
If something which does not have any end.
Correct. Like your operations. Okay. You cannot use the same approach and same principle that we are going to learn in next 4 days time to operations. Operations require a different approach to maintain. The end result of a project can lead you to the operations. Like the prototype that we made. The prototype is a project. Once that project is completed, it will move on to the manufacturing. So output of a project can lead to operations, but the way you are going to manage the operations will require a different approach and different methodology altogether. Clear? Okay. So once you have a project identified, then you need to manage the project. So we need to do the project management. So what do you think is the project management? Yes, sir.
Project management means manage the all kind of resources.
Absolutely correct. And
Initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, controlling.
correct.
For
And
resource management or
yes, sir. What do you think of project management? So what we do in project management is application of knowledge, skills, tools and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirement. So what is the application of knowledge? Knowledge of the team, what you mentioned, knowledge of the project management. You know, how you should manage the project. You have to initiate, you have to plan, execute, monitor, control. Then you said controlling the resources of the organization. Yes, and also the domain, the work area we are going to work. Project management knowledge and the work that you are going to do, knowledge about that is important. And then skills. What do we do when we say manage?
Technical skills.
Technical skills.
People management.
People management, and
Just,
what you are going to use in that?
Communication. skills.
Absolutely, communication. As a project manager, you are supposed to spend 80% of your time in communication. Communication with whom?
Stakeholders.
Stakeholders. Okay, so you need to have the right kind of skills, managerial skills, communication skills, soft skills to manage the project, isn't it? Because communication is something that can make or break your project. Sometimes it may happen that you completed your project within scope, time and cost, within budget, within all the scope given to you, within time. Customer says everything is fine, but I did not like the way this project was managed. One single statement from the customer and you are off the project, isn't it? Why it happens? Because the customer had some expectations which we failed to manage.
That's why agile model is introduced.
No, that is a different model. Agile model is a different model. I am talking about any reason, could be anything. I am saying the project is completed, you finish the project, everything is done, but still the customer is not very happy. Maybe he was looking for more detailed report, but you did not, as a project manager, you did not provide him the report. So throughout the project, he could not gain that kind of confidence that yes, Nishant is the right person who can manage a project effectively. Though it got completed, but he was scared throughout this cycle. It means what? As a manager, Nishant failed to manage the expectations of the stakeholder, which is a customer. So we need to have the right kind of skills and then tools and techniques. As a project manager, you will need to use a lot of tools. Like we talked about the processes. Process is made up of what? We will have some information coming to us. We will have to analyze that information. How we are going to analyze that information? Using certain tools and techniques. And we need to interpret that information which can give us some meaningful information. So suppose if simplest example, if you are my boss and you come to my desk, ask me, Nishant, what is the status? And I tell you, work is 50% complete. So what will you make out from this information?
Let's say project is going to complete by 1 month, then after 15 days the project will be over. Then if the 50% of work
But
is
the
completed,
only statement I am giving you is the work is 50% complete.
Not clear communication.
that's
it's
not
not
a clear
clear.
communication because I'll
It is
ask,
not clear.
Yeah, I'll ask you.
Absolutely.
Give me,
Schedules and-
data.
Correct. So as a manager, you will ask me that okay, this information is not sufficient. Tell me till this point, till today, how much work we were supposed to complete. Isn't it? So what will happen is, project manager will get this information from one source, he will process it, analyze it, use certain tools and techniques, and then we will interpret, and the manager will interpret that okay, the project is behind schedule by so many days. Isn't it? As a project manager, you will have to process tons of information. And you will need to use these tools and techniques. And tools and techniques is something we are going to learn throughout this project, throughout this workshop. Is it clear? And the right combination of this is actually your project management. And also it requires generic management skills and professional ethics. Generic management skills are very, very important. These days what has happened is every person, I am also from the same breed. After working for a significant amount of time, I started demanding promotion. And it went to that stage where I started threatening the company that if you don't give me promotion, I will quit. They said, okay, for the sake of giving you a designation, you are now hereby called as Associate Project Manager. Fine, I was happy. What work I am going to do? You will continue to do the same work that you are doing. Because in India, your designation is a sort of taboo, is a social status. What are you doing? Working in this company. Who are you? What role you play? I am a manager. Oh fine, you will get all the respect. But if you go and tell them what you are doing, I am just a customer support engineer. I am an engineer. Oh, he's just an engineer, and see like that guy is a manager. Here the designation is more related to the social status. If you go to US, you will find that people who have 35 years of experience, they are still working as an engineer. If you go to Cisco, Cisco is a flat designation organization. You will find people whose package is in the range of 45 or 50 lakhs and his designation is Service Readiness Engineer. There was a position, in my friend's team, and I asked my friend, my neighbor actually in my society, that you're interested. He said, okay, what is the role? I said, it's a tech lead. He said, I'm already a senior manager, and tech lead's role, no, I don't want to go down to that designation. I said, man, you don't understand. Tech lead in Cisco means something. The package of the tech lead in Cisco starts with 45 lakhs, and it goes up to 60 lakhs. I said, tech lead is a fantastic role. You will be senior than a manager actually. He said, no, in industry it is going to harm me. He joined another company as a senior manager, where the package was around 35-36 lakhs. Just for this designation, he missed that opportunity. Because in India, we always associate our social status with the designation that we have.
Middle East also is the same thing. You are an engineer for 20-25 years.
Absolutely.
When you come to India, it's like DG manager, senior manager, DGM, GM.
Correct.
GM here and engineer is same.
Absolutely. So what happens is, people have grown to the different designations, but they do not have the proper knowledge and skills to manage that project. And that is why PMI has jumped into this space. PMI is doing this great work by filling the gap in their knowledge and skills with respect to the role that they are and what they should possess. So that's why your generic management skills are very, very important, and with professional ethics, which we see very rarely actually in a lot of industries and a lot of areas. Clear? So when we talk about the project management, that we need to apply this knowledge, skills, tools and techniques, where we should do that? Where we are going to use that? So we are going to use that in striking or managing the right balance between these competing factors or the constraints of the project. So when you read the PMBOK, you will see there are a lot of factors. Your scope, time, cost, quality, HR, communication, risk, resources, all are competing factors, and everything rolls down to this triple constraint. So this triple constraint theorem was devised by Dr. Harold Kurzner. So Harold Kurzner is a management guru. Okay, he is one of the most prestigious name in project management, and this approach was devised by him. He says that a perfect project means a perfectly balanced the scope, time and cost, the constraints of the project, keeping the quality in the center. So as a project manager, you will have to ensure that you are in control of these factors. But in a real-time situation, it becomes very, very difficult. Isn't it? Easier said than done. People say that this is bookish knowledge. Real life, the situation is different. So suppose you made a project The customer said, you complete this project with some specific scope or some features, and this should be done in $1 million, and the time needed for this is 6 months. Okay. You started working on that. After some time, the most inevitable thing happens, and what is that?
Scoping.
Change. Scope creep or scope change. Customer said, okay, the market dynamics have changed. I don't want these features. I want you to add some more features to it. Okay. Now, as a project manager, what you need to do is, you need to first of all understand that what is the impact of this change on the other competing factors or the other constraints of the project. And you will have to make the changes in other constraints accordingly or in the same proportion to ensure that you get the perfect triangle. Otherwise, the project will be considered as out of control project. You will never be able to finish it within the time or within the cost, and the quality will not be met. So as a manager, you must always ensure that you are on top of situation or on top of control for at least one factor from this. If customer says, I want X number of features in that product, I want this to be done in 6 months time, that you should be the one who will be deciding what should be the cost. If the customer says, we want these features, win $1 million, then you should be the one deciding about the time. Easier said than done? Again? Yes or no? So how we can you do this?
That is the more difficult time, convincing lot of people.
That is where you have to use your skills, knowledge and tools and techniques, and you also need your generic management skills. So for a project manager, there are two things very, very important. First is what? He must be a person who has no problem in saying no to anyone, anywhere. The ability to say no. Okay? Second is a smile on the face. Why? You may not realize it now, but I'll ask you this question at end of day 4. Why? Because you need to manage people, and no matter you're working in which country, which vicinity, which area, inside this skull and the skin, we are all humans. And every human has certain tendencies. And this is one of the traits which can be used as a tool to break ice and penetrate inside that thick skull. Isn't it? Because how we can implement that? Imagine a situation that you have to present some data to a set of senior stakeholders. You get inside the room and you see that some 10 or 12 or 15 angry looking faces. What will happen? What happens then? You will lose confidence, you will lose motivation, you will be scared, you will be nervous. When you have all these factors, you will not be able to present your data effectively. Even if you know everything, but you will still not be able to present that. We have experienced that multiple times. We go for interview and we come out and say that, you know, I knew everything, but I was so nervous that I forgot. Isn't it? Smile. How smile can help? If you go behind the smile, you cannot smile if you are not confident about what you are going to present or what you are going to talk about. If you are confident, it means you have the enough knowledge and information about the discussion or the data that you are going to present. And who will give you that information on the data? From where you are going to get that? From the project, from the stakeholders. If you have the right tools and techniques and processes established for this project, you will always be on top of the information. You will have this information on your fingertips. So even if there are 15 people sitting very angry looking and you still go and smiling there, people will first of all, even before you start your presentation, they will get affected by your smile. Because this is the working of the subconscious mind. They may not realize with the conscious mind, but in the subconscious mind they will know that yes, this guy is something, he is doing something. Okay? We will talk about this more when we move ahead, but this is a responsibility and the entire crux of the project management. That you will have to use all this application of knowledge, skills and tools and techniques and general management skills in managing the right balance, in striking the right balance of these key competing factors of the project, which is a scope, time, cost and quality in the center of it. Clear? Okay. So coming back to our PMP examination, so this is the structure that I was talking about, that you have the PMBOK guide and you have the project management body of knowledge, the wider body of the knowledge, and PMBOK guide covers only 65% of that area, and which also has a combination of your interpersonal skills, your general management knowledge and skills, understanding of the project environment, not the project alone, but the project environment. What is the project environment?
People you work with.
People you work with, the kind of structure you have, organization structure, the systems, the culture, okay, and application area, knowledge, standards and regulations. PMP exam will have questions from all these areas. This is something that you can read. This is something that you will have to, that you will gain from your experience, from your knowledge. And you will have to use your project management common sense to answer these questions. Fine? So references, you will read lot of other books, you will have to go through lot of other books and you will come across many other material also. But remember one thing, PMBOK is always right. When you go for the PMP examination, you will have to keep just one thing in your mind. Either it's PMI way or highway. Whenever you are stuck, whenever you have any doubt, just remember one thing, that what does PMI recommends? What is the PMI guidance? And if there is any conflict or any confusion in any concept, always refer to PMBOK. PMBOK is a single source of truth, one version of truth. Clear? And PMBOK guide is structured in 3 sections, divided into 3 areas. Your PM framework, and then the standards where we have the life cycle in the organization, which we have already covered, and then standard for the project management of the project, that is a PM process group, and this 47 processes, and then we have this 10 distinctive knowledge areas. Okay. Another thing that you need to understand and you should know, there won't be any questions from this. This is for FYI. That what is the structure, how this program, portfolio and a project interact with each other. So project is a smallest entity. Multiple projects, combination of multiple projects will make a program. Combinations of one program or multiple program will be under your portfolio, and portfolios are always aligned to strategic business objective. Fine? And how we do the coordination between all the project, program and portfolio is using the proper PMO. So suppose you are going somewhere from Ahmedabad, you are taking a flight to Mumbai, and when you are about to land there, you are expecting the landing will happen in next 5 minutes, but then you see that the plane is just hovering across the city for 10-15 minutes. Why it happens?
Bad weather.
Bad weather, or maybe the traffic. Okay, a lot of other aircrafts also waiting. Now who decides? If we say that project manager is a captain of the ship, so that means each flight is a project and the captain is a project manager, then who will decide which plane to land first and which to go later? Who decides there?
Ground.
Ground.
ATC, air traffic controller. How he decides that?
He judges all the planes.
He is having a level view across all the projects. He knows, the ATC guy sitting in ATC will know how many flights are there in queue, how many have landed, what is the availability on the ground, the flights which are hovering the plane, which one is running low on the fuel, which one is critical, which one is on schedule, which one is delayed. There are multiple factors. Based on those factors, ATC manager will decide, okay, this flight X should land now, flight Y will have to land later. Isn't it? And how do they do that? It is not that the ATC person who is sitting there, he feel like, okay, no, yesterday we gave first opportunity to him, so today we are going to do him. No. Isn't it? They have their own procedures. And ATC knows about all these procedures. So ATC can be compared with the PMO in an organization. PMO is Program Management or Project Management Office. PMO works with the program manager to define the policy procedures. For example, you are working on a program. Do you understand the program, sir? Program is a collection of multiple projects. So you have a program manager, and program manager says, okay, we are starting this program, and we have project manager A, B, and C, and D. And he says, I want to review each of your project on next Wednesday. So come prepared with the project status report and financial reports. Next Wednesday, all the project managers, they prepare their report and they go there. So one is presenting a PPT which has some KPIs. Second project manager goes and he is presenting that in Excel sheet, different format, different look and feel, different way of presentation. Third goes, he says, I don't have any PPT, I have just, this written notes, documented, printed reports, please go through that. And fourth one says, I don't have all these things, but I can verbally explain you what is to be done, what we have done so far. Now the program manager is supposed to keep these projects in sync because they have interdependencies, isn't it? He has no idea what impact one project has on another project. He has no idea whether the progress that we have made is in sync or not. So what he will do from next time is, he will call someone, he will call Nishan, and he will say, Nishan, I am giving you the responsibility. You work with all these people and make sure I get a report next Wednesday which will clearly state the progress made with respect to schedule and scope. And I also want to see the financial reporting, and these are the KPIs, that is key performance indicators for that project which I would like to see. And he has given his requirement in the format, and now Nishant will work with all those 4 project managers and he will tell them or circulate the template and will ask everyone that, okay, now you need to give me this information in this format. Nishant will collect all this information, will consolidate that, correct that, and then will make a report and will make a presentation and will go to the program manager that, okay, this is the overall progress, this is the progress of each and every individual project, and this is the overall progress for this program. So Nishant is playing the role of a PMO or ATC who is having a one level higher view. So he is trying to visualize that, okay, where does all this project fits. So PMO works with program manager to devise and formulate the policy, procedure and templates, and then PMO works with the project manager for the implementation of that and execution of that. Is it clear? There won't be any questions directly from that, but this is again, you must know. Fine? So that's all about your project management framework and the importance of project management. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, isn't it? So what we are going to learn here is the introduction to the processes. We have already talked about it, so I'm just quickly going to run through the slides. So we have the process management, project management process groups, and we will talk about these knowledge areas and then mapping of processes to the process group and knowledge areas. So process, we already talked about it. There are 47 processes and each of the process receives inputs and generates output. and the process tailoring. So PMI allows you to customize your processes. So if you have to make your own methodology, doesn't mean that you need to use all the 47 processes. And remember, PMBOK is not a methodology. PMBOK is body of knowledge. You will have to pick and choose the information from PMBOK and make your own methodology. Clear? So PMI allows you to merge certain processes or split certain processes and pick and choose and decide which one to be used. So I am not going through the details of it, but when we reach to that area, then I'll tell you what are processes you can merge in a real-time application. Process group interaction, this is how this process group will interact with each other. They will always have some overlapping. So do not think that once you complete the initiation, then only you are going to start with the plan. Once the planning is complete, then only execution will start. Once you are doing the execution, then only motor control will start. No. This is how they will interact with each other. There will always be some amount of overlapping among these process groups. Okay? We will talk about, we will understand this more when we start digging into the processes. And these are the 10 knowledge areas. So we have scope management, time, cost, quality, HR, communication, risk, procurement, stakeholder. And when we consolidate all these, we do the integration. Integration, as the name suggests, it is the integration of all these subsidiary knowledge areas from scope till stakeholders. Okay? And integration management consists of the high level processes of the project. Okay? And this is how these process groups are mapped. So we have these process groups: initiate, plan, execute, monitor, control and close. And then we have this knowledge areas. So depending on what stage of the project you are into, you will have to carry out certain processes from those distinctive knowledge areas. So suppose when you are in the initiating state, you will have to do only two processes: develop project charter and identify stakeholders. When you move into the planning stage, you will have to carry out this whole lot of processes. Then when you start with your execution, you will have to carry out certain processes there, which will mark the execution of that or the project. And when you do the execution, you will have some work results, and then you will have to do monitoring and controlling. And once all the deliverables of the projects are completed, then you will move to the close process flow. Is it clear? So we will keep referring to this book from time to time. I'll open the PMBOK. We will keep this section open for our source of any of the book is PMBOK.
Yeah.
Representation may be different.
Yeah, representation.
Yeah. You know how I compare these books with PMBOK is, suppose you are a trainee pilot. Okay. And what will happen is you are made to stand in front of a plane Boeing 737. And someone is giving you that entire manual. That manual has correction of or information about each and every dial, meter, function, button, switch. But you don't know you should use in what coordination. What is the sync or what is the right sequence of that. PMI or the PMBOK gives you the details about each and every functionality of the project management. But there are a lot of good books which tells you the flow that how you should be using that. Okay, so it is important to read some good books, but again the single source of truth for everything is your PMBOK. There are different books and they have a different way of representing the information. Whatever helps you understand the topic in the best way, go for that.
Which are good books for this integration?
Okay, so since you have asked, let me tell you. Rita Mulcahy, C-A-H-Y or C-H-A-Y? That you can check. C-A-H-Y. Rita Mulcahy is actually considered to be the best book after PMBOK. Okay, but The Indian edition of this book is not available, so this is approximately 5K. Approximately 5,000 rupees for one print. Then there are some other books. One is by Andy Grove. Andy Grove book is again, the Indian edition is still not out, it's not there in the market. Then you have this, what is it? Godfrey Kim Herdman, and you have Head First.
In Hellman 7th edition, sir.
Yeah. So Kim Herdman 7th edition is the latest edition. Rita Mulcahy 8th edition is the latest edition. This is 6th edition is the latest edition. Head First, I don't know about the latest edition. So third, because these two books explain this topic in the simplest possible language, easiest language and very easy examples. Okay, if you can get hold of Rita Mulcahy, that is amazing, because Rita raises your bar to very high level. But because of the cost factor, people decide to go for other books. See, it doesn't mean that if you don't read Rita, you will not be able to clear that. I never read Rita Mulcahy. There are a lot of people who did not read Rita Mulcahy. All I did is I prepared based on this book, Andy Grove and Pimbock. There are some people who have read Kim Herdman. There are some people who read this Pimbock in this Head First. Any book you read, you will have to read Pimbock at least twice. If not twice, minimum one is must. Do not even think of going for PMP examination without reading this book start to end once. Minimum once. So no matter what book you read from here, you will anyway have to read Pimbock. Is it clear? Minimum one is must. More than that, if you do it, it's well and good.
And
More you read, Pimbock, see, why we insist on reading the Pimbock? Because for PMP exam, either PMI way or highway. It is as simple as clear as that. Okay, you will have to use the same terminologies.
Yes.
All these books also use the same terminologies. Okay, they will not be using any of the terminology outside Pimbock. You need to become familiar with the terminology and you need to become familiar with the processes. And whenever you are stuck in the question, just remember what does PMI recommends and suggests for that. So we will talk more about it as and when we make the progress. So that is about the basic and introduction part of it. And now we are going to start with